Hi, did you know that so many people think that if they want to change their lives, all they got to do is work on their mindset? And in reality, that's barely a half measure compared to what's available to you. Well, today I'm covering the foundational tool, the building block ability that everyone needs in order to permanently heal their stuff rather than just working at a surface level. And this is so important, so impactful, that I've decided to make this a two-parter, this being part one. But first, my name is Erna. I'm a transformation coach currently experiencing my own transformation, and I guide people by providing a roadmap, a step-by-step process, putting them in the driver's seat of their own healing journey. Because if you know how to heal your own trauma, heal your own wounds permanently on your own, your whole life will change. I've been studying inner healing and manifestation specifically for over 20 years. I know this path, and I have enough permanent results that now I want to share it with others who are not interested in doing 20 years worth of guesswork. So let's dive in. So there was a season for that when we were focused on mindset and go, go, go and push and affirm and just decide and keeping your thoughts on positive things, the positivity vibe. There was a time for that. And it seems now we're transitioning into something else because you know what? That's not working. We're tired of the half measures. We need a full measure. We want to move into something that can do permanent changes to the things that we want to see go differently in our lives. And part of that shift is that you hear a lot about nervous system reset, nervous system healing. And that's important because if you want to see permanent changes in your life, you do need to involve the nervous system. All of my tools that I've used to support myself and to support my clients, excuse me, they involve the nervous system. Somatic experiencing, EDMR, and others where people have had some level of success, they all have one thing in common. They depend on a person's ability to effectively feel their feelings. Being able to feel your feelings, friend, that is the foundational muscle, the building block of every effective healing tool. I want to be clear and say healing. I'm not talking about symptom management. I'm not talking about affirming your behaviors in place from now until kingdom come. I'm talking about actual, automatic, permanent, lasting changes that you don't have to keep your eye on in order to maintain. If you want that deep level of change, you need to, like I said, involve the nervous system. And the practical way of doing that is doing what's called feeling your feelings. To bring about the changes that you want to see in your life starts with this ability. And if it sounds like I'm laying it on thick, I'm actually underselling it. It's that powerful. It's just subtle. And it's downplayed in our society, in most societies. Today, I'm going to explain what it is, what it means to feel your feelings, why it's important, a few reasons why we should do it, besides what I already mentioned. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how we became desensitized to it and why that matters. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to take you through a very brief exercise, a simple exercise, to give you a taste of what it feels like, no pun intended. Let's get into it. So first, what does it mean to feel your feelings? A lot of people define it as something very abstract or out there or difficult to understand. Maybe it's somebody who's always upset or very emotional, and we don't see it for the actual surgeon's blade that it is. So let's look a little bit closer and break down the words. To feel. When I say to feel, I'm talking about that one of your five physical senses, like your sight, or to smell, or to taste, or to hear. To feel. It's an action word. It's something that you do. And so it's, if you're anything like me, when I'm in a room and I see velvet anywhere, I somehow always manage to make my way over there just to touch it because I like the feel of velvet. And so I'm sure there's a word for that, but it's literally using one of your senses to perceive something. And so that's to feel. And then there's feelings. Feelings, when I say feeling, it's interchangeable with emotion. So we're thinking about sadness, happiness, anger, the feeling of pride when you're proud of yourself. Those are feelings. So if you could imagine running your fingers over it the way I do with velvet, over a feeling. Because if you break it down even further, what does it mean really to feel? It means to notice. To notice the characteristics of. Is it soft? Is it plush? Is it hard? Spiky? Cold? Big? Small? Noticing, observing the characteristics of a feeling. So my definition, and I have it here written out because I want to say every word, for feeling your feelings is to notice and name the physical sensations in your body that come from your thoughts and emotions without judgment for long enough for that sensation, those thoughts, and those emotions to either shift or release. So it's to take time to, what they say, sit with, to be with, and pay attention and notice your emotions. Every emotion you have has an accompanying sensation. So they're pretty easy to find once you become sensitive to them. So with that definition, what feeling your feelings is not is just swirling around thinking about how you feel all day. Your sensations, when paid attention to in a way that's not trying to change them or force them, they only need between 30 and 90 seconds of your attention before they shift or release. And so when I hear that terminology a lot as far as I'm going to sit with it for a while, yeah, they usually are sitting with it for a while, all day, the next day, into the next week. The release valve is to be able to go into your body and to drop to the sensation level and pay attention to those without trying to change them. And when you do that, without your help at all, those sensations and therefore those emotions release. If you've ever heard the phrase, the body knows or the body doesn't lie, this is why. Because your sensations, your body will know that something is going on or that you're upset about something before your mind rationally understands the reasoning behind what's going on. And so if you've ever been in an argument and you could freeze frame, you would notice that your heart's racing real fast. Your shoulders are heavy. Your face is hot. That's your body communicating signals through your nervous system, letting you know something's going on. And the beauty of signals is that's something that you can pay attention to. It's just something that you have to become sensitive to. And I'm going to talk about that more at the end of the video. But once you become sensitive to it, you can trace back because it'll become blaring and louder to you the more sensitive you are, more difficult to ignore. And once you can notice them, you can trace it back to what's going on and pluck. So sensations communicate to us in a physical way. Your dreams, your hopes, your inner direction, your intuition, they send signals that you can perceive in a physical way. So that's what it means to feel your feelings. Now, why does that matter? What's the point? Aside from what I already shared, I'm going to share 2 more reasons today and then a couple more in the next video in part 2. So the first reason I want to cover, again, it might seem subtle. Everything about feelings is subtle, but it's powerful. The ability to get curious about yourself and to pay attention to the details of yourself down to a sensation and emotion level is the most potent form of self-attention. Let me explain. So the ability to say, "Ooh, I'm feeling upset. Gosh, my chest is doing this. What's going on?" That's the equivalent of 3-year-old you, upset, something's going on, pulling on the pant leg of adult you and just looking up at you. And without saying a word, adult you squats down, looks you in the eye and says, "Oh, hey, darling. Hey, buddy, what's going on? You look upset. Tell me all about it. I want to hear. Let's talk." And the child version of you is able to melt into your arms, knowing that someone cares and someone's paying attention to that level of detail in your life. It really has the power to rewire the way that you care for yourself. Because the ability to speak up for yourself and speak up for your needs starts with first knowing what your needs are. And our needs, they communicate to us through our emotions and sensations. When you're somewhere uncomfortable, you know because you feel it. When you hear an idea and you're excited about it and you feel inspired and expansive, those are signals. Those are directions, are emotions. Being able to heal a doubt or a wound starts with first knowing what that doubt or wound or trauma or limiting belief is. And the beautiful thing about feelings is that the longer you look at them, the more they speak to you. The more you observe them without trying to judge them, again, we're talking seconds here, it will turn or shift. It will turn like a diamond showing different facets, clearing one, shifting to the next one, clearing that one, shifting to the next one, and it'll continue that, speaking to you, revealing itself to you, so that you know exactly what needs your attention, what exactly to feel and notice. Oh, I'm feeling this now. Okay, now I'm noticing this, and then that releases. And then something else comes up. Okay, that I feel that, and then that releases. Again, with emotions, if there's confusion, it just needs you to pay attention without judgment. So our feelings, that level of sensitivity, being able to do that, I got off on a tangent there, but it's so important. Being able to do that creates a deep sense of self-respect because you know someone's looking at you that closely who cares, and it's you. The second reason that I'm sharing today for feeling your feelings is because the ability to do that grants you access to your logical thinking mind. Most people don't connect logic and feelings, but those two things are deeply connected. There's a causal relationship there because being able to notice what you're feeling inside and to name it gives you the ability to communicate what you're feeling versus acting on what you're feeling. So if you've ever said something or done something that you deeply regret, a lot of acts of violence that people commit, a lot of harsh things people say in arguments are because they're feeling big feelings and have nowhere to put it. And feelings are always going to come out. And so even just being able to say, I'm mad right now. I'm so jealous of him. I'm so angry at her. I hate this person. Even being able to say that out loud releases a little bit of the air out of the tire, a little bit of air, a little bit of pressure out of the balloon. Because friend, you can't outthink an emotion. You have to feel it. That's what releases that pressure. Because if you don't, those emotions, they will linger. They will spin until finally they come out in what will probably not be the most productive way. The more productive way is to be able to notice and name out loud. Our brains really like it when we label what we're feeling because it releases a bit of that pressure and you're able to connect back to your, okay, I'm going to choose your rational mind. This is what I want to do. You're able to have control over your reactions versus being instantly reactive. Okay, I'm able to decide this is what I want to say and do. All because you chose to honor your emotions and give them some attention. So cultivating a deep sense of self-love through that kind of attention and self-respect, and also the ability to choose your reactions, those are two powerful reasons to become sensitive to your own feelings. How did we get here? How did we as a society get to a place where we're not sensitive to our emotions? What caused us to become desensitized? You would think with, how important it is that it would be taught in schools, but it's not. And you know what? We didn't start off this way. When babies come into the world, they have no problem letting everyone in hearing distance know, hey, I have a need. Something's wrong. I need help. I want this. I want someone to just pay attention to me. They will let the world know. We're not born thinking no one cares about me. No one wants to hear what I have to say. My feelings don't matter. We're not born not taking our feelings seriously. So how do we get here? We learned a number of things. Most of us learned it in our culture. So maybe you grew up in a household where you heard boys don't cry. Or you grew up witnessing a parent, a mom or a dad or a caregiver putting themselves last. Or maybe the only emotion that one of your caregivers displayed was anger. And so you learned that, oh, this doesn't matter. You learn to disregard those inner signals telling you, hey, pay attention here, because when you try to display it or when you witness someone else displayed it, they paid a price. And honoring your needs is an extension of boundaries. So maybe you grew up in a home where it was considered selfish to advocate for yourself or to speak up for your needs, that was considered, a self-absorbed way to live or how to go through life. I've had the honor to support many people who experienced a punishment because emotions were seen as a weakness in that family unit. And so there was a punishment, there was abandonment, there was rejection. That's a major way that many of us learn to disregard our emotions. And depending on what part of the world you grew up in, You got these super strong messages that strength and perseverance, regardless of how it feels, is all that matters. And that's what makes you successful. And to have a thick skin and nothing can hurt you. And something even as simple as sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Yes, they will. Words can hurt. They might not bruise you like a stick or a stone, but they hurt your emotions. And to be able to, I'll say this, the quicker way to get over it is to acknowledge it and to name it and to allow it to be there. It'll pass much quicker than hardening, than thickening that layer around yourself. And that's what a lot of children and adults, learn to do. I grew up in American culture where we learned logic over emotions, facts over feelings, the strength and the logical mind of men over the weak emotions of women. And so people who are seen as passionate or have strong feelings are viewed as being less intelligent than people who can be more cool or can detach from their emotions. I'm looking at you, Stoicism. We prioritize that way of living as if it's superior, when really you're only working with half of the essential elements in order to create something powerful. And so whether you learned it at home or just by turning on the television or at school, it's very hard to go against that grain and of what the mainstream is doing and be able to pay attention to your body unless you are purposefully, intentionally taught. Even me, I'm a sensitive person. I can pick up on things very easily. And I learned from home, from school, from church, all over, to dishonor my internal signals and to disregard what was coming up as my genuine thoughts and emotions. And so most people have some level of difficulty getting back into the body. And so if you've been out of it for such a long time, for most of your life, say, and someone comes online and says on YouTube, you should learn how to feel your feelings, that can seem daunting because the muscle has not been developed or worked for good reason, very justifiable reasons. But it could be difficult to get back into the habit of it. And that's what our exercise in just a moment is going to step into. But imagine growing up in a different kind of world. Imagine children being able to pay attention to what's going on in their little bodies and in their emotions. Imagine if they were able to be sensitive to their yes and their no, and what feels good and what doesn't feel good, what they like and what they don't like. We'd have a whole bunch of adults living with intention, living with joy, with self-assurance that they know themselves, and additionally making decisions that align with them, that feel good, living a full life. That's the power of being able to pay attention to yourself at this level. And even though that wasn't my experience, and it may not have been yours, if we learn to shut that part of ourselves off to survive, or in the name of being virtuous or noble or strong, that's okay. Your nervous system and your ability to pay attention to your nervous system is a skill that can be developed. And so let's get started with that right now. So we're going to do a very quick exercise, one that I do with my clients, usually on the first call, just to get their feet wet and to see what it's like a little bit. And so if you feel comfortable, if you're feeling calm enough and you're not driving, if you have somewhere to sit where you can close your eyes, find that location, you can pause me. I'll be right here. And then sit down. You can close your eyes. I'll close mine so that no one's looking at you. And what I want you to do, if you can already tell things are going on inside, go ahead and notice that. Take a deep breath. You may already notice some heat in the face, heaviness on the shoulders, calmness in the throat. You might notice nothing. You might notice a thought saying, "What is this?" That's okay. Pay attention. Just notice. So for a moment, imagine it's a sunny day and you're outside. Imagine the sun is beaming on your face, on your shoulders, on your chest. What do you notice? For some reason, I notice it on my ears right now as I think about that hot, beaming sunshine. I notice it beaming on my chest, And I feel a warmth on my chin. I'm noticing it's tough for me to completely feel it because my fingertips are chilly. Imagine it's so hot, you gotta take off the coat you're wearing or the sweatshirt you're wearing. I just imagined a smell, if that's possible, a smell of sweat. Whatever comes up, we're just paying attention. Even if it's nothing, if it feels blank, what am I doing? It doesn't work for me. I can't do this. Those are all things to notice. And good job for noticing them. Take a deep breath. Now think about winter cold. Many of you don't have to imagine that. Imagine a lot of snow on the ground and it's below freezing temperatures outside. When you think about that image and you out there in the cold and the wind, what do you notice coming up in your body, if anything? I can feel the tops of my ears, feeling the cold wind. My fingers tingling as I think about the blustery cold. What images come up? Are you standing outside? You have a hat on? That little bit of space that's not quite covered with your scarf, so your neck is getting a little brief chill. Or maybe it's hard to imagine the cold blizzard. What's coming up in that place instead of the blizzard? Is there any worry there? Am I doing this right? I can't do this through a computer screen. Again, if any of that's coming up, good, you noticed. You can see it in your mind. Take a deep breath and open your eyes. Wonderful job. So that's just a tiny little dip into the feeling your feelings pool. Depending on where you are in your journey, that might be way too elementary for you, or perhaps it was a big deal and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do that. Great. Again, the goal is not to feel a particular thing. You want to just pay attention to whatever is there. That's why I was mentioning other thoughts that might be coming up in place of the weather scenario. That's fine. As long as you spot it and name it, you won. If that was your first time doing this part of the video, I encourage you to do it at least 3 more times, because what you'll notice is you'll be able to pay attention and pick up on a sensation and an emotion more quickly by that 4th time. You'll notice you get incrementally stronger and more able to recognize what's going on inside. That's how it starts, friend. While you're doing it, you may want to write it down. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm noticing. And you'll notice those observations, they might change from day to day. By day 2, day 3, day 4, they might get a little bit more detailed, or they won't. You might have to take it to day 5 or day 6. Beautiful. And again, if you notice any resistance to doing it, that's also a feeling. That's also a thought that's coming with a sensation that you can observe. The muscle is still growing. So the part 2 of this series, that's going to include a different exercise, a little bit more complex. And so you could just go to it right now, depending on when you're watching this video. But I encourage you to try the foundational exercise that we just did at least 3 more times on different days. You're just noticing and allowing and not trying to change anything, not trying to force anything, just letting it be there while you name it. Great job today. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.